The Untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing game's been missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, make sure you smash that like button and definitely take the time to subscribe. Now, I wanted to talk about something that was very sad to watch this past weekend. And look, you guys know I've talked highly about this guy before, and I'm still gonna talk highly about him now, but I gotta call a spade. You know me. I gotta call a spade, whether I like somebody or I don't like somebody. I call it how I see it. I walk it like I talk it, okay? And we got to talk about Edgar Berlanga, man. Edgar Berlanga. Oh, my God. But what do I begin with Edgar Berlanga? So, I remember very clearly when I went to go watch Edgar Berlanga fight in his last fight against Desmond Nicholson in Orlando, which, by the way, was very freaking expensive for you know, whatever. Edgar Berlanga. Went to go see Edgar Berlanga fight, and I remember, it was the first time where he didn't knock anybody out, didn't knock him out in the first round. The streak ended. Didn't even get a knockout in the fight against Nicholson. And I remember telling my dad that, during that fight and after that fight, that he needs to learn how to feint. Because if he doesn't start throwing some feints at these fighters, he's going to get clipped and get clipped badly. And I remember at the time, during that fight week and leading up to it, I remember there was a lot of chat and rumblings that Top Rank was looking into making a fight between Edgar Berlanga and Jesse Hart, and I didn't see it. I didn't think he was gonna fight Jesse Hart. And then luckily for him, Top Rank cut Jesse Hart, and now Jesse Hart's fighting on club shows in Philadelphia. So that fight's not gonna happen. But that would have been a horrible fight for Edgar Berlanga, in my opinion. But anyway, he fought Marcelo Coceres this week, the tough, rugged Argentinian. And man, oh man, Marcelo Coceres was everything Edgar Berlanga could handle and more. Listen, man, Edgar Berlanga was exposed, and I know that word gets thrown around a lot in boxing. I know a lot of people like to say, "Oh, well, so such and such got exposed because this happened and that happened." But no. He really got exposed. Like, he got exposed as someone that couldn't cut the ring off because he failed to cut the ring off for the majority of the fight. He got exposed as someone who can't throw feints. He got exposed as someone that overextends on a lot of his punches. He got exposed as a fighter that is not anywhere close to ready for the world championship level of boxing, especially when you consider who's at the top of 168. Right now, 168, you got guys like Canelo, who I know Edgar Berlanga in the past has expressed that he wanted to fight. And look, I appreciate his ambition in boxing, but right now, we got to pump the brakes on the Canelo talk, because he's not ready for a Canelo. You got guys like Caleb Plant. He's definitely not ready for no damn Caleb Plant. He's definitely not ready for no damn Dave Benavidez. So I really feel like, he has to really take some time to develop as a fighter. It was good. It was really fun to see him get the first round knockouts, and he had all the celebrities and Fat Joe and Tracy Morgan and Lil Wayne. But now Edgar Berlanga, he's going through the other side of being he's seeing the other side of what it means to be a star in the sport of boxing. He's seeing the adversity side, and now he has to overcome that adversity, and he has to show improvements. Because I'm gonna tell you this, 16 straight first round knockouts, and then 2 performances where you go the distance, and then the second one you really get exposed badly. His stock right now is dropping. And in boxing, unfortunately, for better, for worse, for good, bad, or indifferent, they say you're only as good as your last fight. And I don't make up these bullshit sayings. Other people do, and a lot of fans judge people like this. They say you're only as good as your last fight. Now, Edgar Berlanga is still a good fighter. He's a big, strong kid. Hard, straight right hands, good power jab. I just think for him, he's got the power, he's got the physical strength, he's got a little bit of boxing skill. Now it's about the decoys. How do you set these things up? How do you go about setting up the big right hand? How do you go about setting up the big left hook? How do you break the rhythm of your opponent in front of you? How do you become a less predictable fighter in terms of how you move around the ring? These are the things that I think he needs to work on. And once he can iron these things out, he'll become a better fighter. But right now, yeah, he got exposed badly, and I don't think he should be talking about fighting for a world title anytime within the next 12 to 18 months. There's some good fights out there for him. Fights that I think will really test him. A couple of names I'll throw out there. A couple of fights that I think would be good for him. I think John Ryder would be a good fight for Edgar Berlanga, but it might be a big step too soon for him, because John Ryder is a fighter that's fought at world level. He fought Callum Smith and gave him hell, and I thought he beat Callum Smith, so he's really a world championship caliber fighter to me. an uncrowned world champion. I think that'd be a hard fight for Berlanga because Ryder is not going to be afraid of him. Ryder is very durable. Ryder is going to press him, and he's going to have to really show, find a way to keep Ryder off of him and even cut the ring off on him. And he couldn't even cut the ring off on Coceres, and Coceres was moving around the ring very slowly, and for the first couple of rounds didn't do anything, and he still could cut the ring off on him. So just a lot of things need to happen for him to improve. You know, you got John Ryder, you got David Lemieux, who a lot of people say is old, over the hill, washed up, things like that. But David Lemieux can still punch, and I think in a fight like that, Edgar Berlanga is still gonna have to learn some things. He's gonna have to develop in that fight, and he's still gotta be careful. You know, so that could be a good fight. You know, I don't know if Jesse Hart can make 168 anymore, but if he can, and Top Rank wants to actually go ahead and look to make that fight, Jesse Hart could be a good fight. These are all fighters that I think could give Edgar Berlanga problems, test him. But if Edgar Berlanga is who we think he is, and if he is worth his salt as a fighter, he'll find a way to beat these kind of guys. Because if you can't beat these kind of guys, and you can't look good against the Marcelo Coceres of the world, you know, how do you expect to be fighting the Canelos and the Plants and the Benavidez and these guys? Because look, I don't care if you're a fan of Canelo, because I'm not, but Canelo Alvarez has, against a guy like Coceres, he would have folded Coceres up. Same thing goes for Plant. Same thing goes for Benavidez. These guys have all shown themselves to be of higher quality than their contemporaries at 168. And right now, Edgar Berlanga, he looks spectacular for those first 16 fights, but now he's starting to look a little bit ordinary. And I know I'm not writing him off. I'm not saying he can't come back stronger, but he needs a lot of work, a lot of development. And I think Keith Conley, Bob Arum, Top Rank Boxing, and all parties involved should really take the time with him, because if not, I'm telling you right now, you put him in there with like a Jesse Hart, you put him in there with like a John Ryder, you put him in there with any of those two types of fighters, he might very well be losing his next fight. You know, he's got to really improve quickly and swiftly. And I'm telling you this, you know, I'm not gonna tell any fighter what to do with their career, but if I were Edgar Berlanga, or I would say this, I'll advise Edgar Berlanga to please get the hell out of training in New York City, because I think it's too many distractions for you being in New York City. You know everything, you know everybody. Get the hell out of New York City. And, you know, I don't know what Andre Rozier is teaching him, but it sure as hell ain't to faint. And if Edgar Berlanga is being taught to faint, and he's not fainting, then that means he's not listening to his coach. So it's one of the two. Either Andre Rozier isn't teaching you how to faint before you throw a punch, or he is telling you and you're just not listening. But either way you slice it, regardless of which one it is, those are both bad things. So hopefully Edgar Berlanga could come back better soon. But yeah, for the time being, he got exposed, and he should not, we had to pump the brakes and definitely calm down the world title talk. So yeah, that's my little video on Edgar Berlanga and his career and what happened against Marcelo Coceres. Leave your comments down below. Make sure you guys take the time to subscribe. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Daniel. So until next time, take care, guys.